Want to break down on some of the latest topics from college to the pros? We interview many individuals to share their knowledge about the news stories surrounding the teams and its players. This is Nothing But That Sports Talk. And we are back with another episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk. I'm Rafique Louison. Your eyes do not deceive you. Marlon Louison is back. For the first time since the end of 2018.
Yes.
I know it's kind of long overdue bringing this guy back on the show, but he's back on it.
I'm happy to be back, man. Yeah, the school's keeping me out here and there, but the brand is growing. Just want to thank everybody that's been rocking with us, especially Girls Talk Sports TV. Just happy to be back here this afternoon, Saturday, back to the family, you know what I mean? So, we ain't going nowhere, don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
The brand is strong.
Yeah, we doing our best to make sure that we keep in touch with those sports fans. Listening to it on Spotify and watching it on YouTube.
You already know, man.
Even if it's only 2 or 3, we're trying to make sure that we get a little bit more. Now, on to some other things that are coming back. The 2019 NBA season.
NBA is back and it's better than ever,
2019-2020 NBA season.
Oh, I've been waiting.
After the best free agency we've ever seen.
After the best everything.
Time, the season is back.
We had the best everything last year. I mean, any storyline, every team had a storyline. Anything you could possibly ask for. You had a postseason without LeBron. You had a postseason without Kevin Durant fully in it. You got a postseason that Golden State lost. And then to see all the free agency moves, it's so hard to keep up with it. But you know what? We're entering a new frontier of the NBA right about now. It's the most exciting the brand has ever been. I am so pumped to see the Brooklyn Nets get to business. I'm pumped to see the Knicks. They're not laughing stock no more. I really feel like this was the franchise turnaround. This is what they needed to make the moves. I mean, what else can we say? It's just like we run through all the 30 teams in the NBA and say something flattering about them, except the Suns maybe, but
Yeah, and we're also being going to dish in some NFL talk, along with the progress of the 2019 MLB postseason.
Absolutely.
But since we started off with the NBA, we'll go straight into it.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about the Eastern Conference. Talk about the Eastern Conference.
So with the East, I think we're seeing a much stronger conference this time around.
Exactly.
I think everybody was kind of making their jokes. They had the laughs and the funnies about the East being weak and whatnot. I think what we're seeing is an exciting time where we're seeing some youth flourish in the Eastern Conference. Giannis is already doing his thing at the ripe age of, I think, barely 24. Kyrie Irving's in an exciting time right now where he's with a new franchise. He feels like he really belongs with Brooklyn. Kevin Durant's there with him as well. I think the one concern that I'm having with the Eastern Conference is we might have to curb our enthusiasm a little bit with, just sort of the rosters and the movements. And I think that's for the league for the next at least 2 to 3 months. I think, unfortunately, even though it's exciting, we have a lot of our favorite players who are missing in commission due to injuries. Even hearing Zion Williamson out in the West, with him getting hurt, is pretty unfortunate.
But since we're getting into the Zion talk, we just talk about his opening night matchup against the Toronto Raptors.
Man, he's out there.
The number 1 pick in this year's draft going up against last year's NBA champs. And the funny thing about it is they lost Kawhi Leonard to the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah.
That's going to stay. That literally, Reggie Miller predicted them to be 7th seed. They're at least going to be a playoff team, but without Kawhi Leonard, they're not going to be that big of a threat in the Eastern Conference, I feel. Because Kyle Lowry isn't really going to be that big of a leader. You got Jonas Valanciunas, and you did add Ronnie Hollis-Jefferson, but
Valanciunas got traded too.
Oh, yeah, he got traded to Memphis.
I'm telling you, so much, man. It's cool. There was so many different trades. It was really hard to keep up. It's really hard to keep up.
Exactly. Yeah, and I feel like the Toronto Raptors, they're going to be more competitive, but even though they did smoke the Nets, but that's just preseason. Don't get your hopes up, Toronto. that was just preseason. Kyrie Irving did show you what he's going to be for the Brooklyn Nets in that game, dropping 19 points.
That's right.
And you know who else showed this game? R.J. Barrett.
Ah, yes. The next prospect up in the New York Knicks timeline.
Exactly. RJ Barrett has showed his game. He showed a little bit of what he was when he was playing alongside Zion Williamson at Duke.
Right.
It's a shame we didn't get to see these rookies go out in the preseason. But, again, it's just preseason.
I know, right? We keep missing out. They were supposed to play at the Summer League, and Zion got hurt. Then the Knicks and the Pelicans played last night in the preseason. Zion didn't play. It's like he's ducking RJ Barrett or something. I'm just kidding, man. I'm just playing around.
But, it's scenarios like that. I feel like RJ Barrett could be a possible leading candidate for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I know. We chopped it up on the phone, I think, a couple of days ago, and you did say that. I think he'll be up there. I think because I think with Fitzdale, he's a very young-minded head coach. He very much doesn't believe in just cutting a guy's minutes off just because they're young and they're inexperienced. I mean, we saw Emmanuel Mudiay really flourish a little bit with Fitzdale in the Knicks system last year. So unfortunately he's not there anymore. But with all these young players coming in with Portis, RJ Barrett, Alonzo Trier is going to get his minutes. Frank Nicolina, he's going to get his minutes as well. I think you're going to be able to see all these guys be able to showcase what they got and learn from their mistakes too. I think that's always such an important facet for head coaches in the NBA. It's very unfortunate when you see coaches get very short-tempered when it comes to a young guy.
Yeah.
But RJ Barrett's in a situation where he'll be able to showcase what he has, learn from his mistakes. He might hit the freshman wall at some point in time this season midway through, but he's going to be able to learn from that. And the one thing I always say, man, with Knicks players, young Knicks players want to be Knicks.
Exactly.
They want to be a Knick. They want to be there. They want to play. They put their heart and soul in their franchise. So I really hope that the Knicks really see what they have and hold on to it for as long as possible.
That's what you have to do in order to progress and possibly be a playoff team. Because I feel like they could be 7th or 8th seed.
Here we go again.
The Toronto Raptors, the Orlando Magic, and the Washington Wizards. Because remember, Washington, they're without John Wall.
Yeah.
They did extend Bradley Beal's contract, but they don't have John Wall. What are they gonna do?
And I mean, they were having some rough times with John Wall and Bradley Beal. So
the Eastern Conference is gonna be a dogfight.
It is. I think it's going to be more competitive than we have seen in years before. I just think it's really unfortunate that we're seeing some of the injuries with the guys in the East. It's going to be kind of tough for teams to, when they make the playoffs, play at the optimal level. I think Brooklyn, that's going to be the concern. I mean, Wilson Chandler got suspended. Kyrie might have to miss some games. And now Kevin Durant, we don't know when he's going to play. So as much as it's very exciting to have them there and the core is there and there's a future, I just think immediately this season the Nets might end up, if they make the postseason, losing to a team like Philadelphia. They might lose to a team like Milwaukee.
Yeah. Well, they showed that they cannot compete with Philadelphia, even though they did win Game 1.
Oh yeah. They got
and Milwaukee. That's completely out of the question. Giannis is the MVP.
Oh, yeah. If you don't have Kevin Durant there, it's game over.
Yeah.
It's game over.
Now,
but we're jumping the gun a little bit, we still got a season to go. We don't know what trades might happen. We don't know, but...
Yeah, but let's just look at our predictions.
Okay.
What are your top 4 Eastern Conference teams? Top 4.
Easily Philadelphia, Milwaukee. Let's see. Ooh, yeah, it gets kind of tough after those. It gets kind of tough. Indiana, T.J. Warren. I don't know if you were able to see the game that they had in India with the Kings. Now, I maybe I'm jumping the gun. I really think we're going to see something special out of T.J. Warren this season. Exactly. I really do. I think he's been flying under the radar. I know Carl's probably shedding tears as he hears me say this. He's been singing his praises for years. But I think this is the situation for him now. I think what Indiana has is a very upbeat, up-tempo offensive scheme. Whereas in Phoenix when he was playing, he was getting buckets, but he still had to play second fiddle to Devin Booker. But with the Indiana system right now, I don't think he has to sacrifice too much of his game in order to kind of appease another player. And what I saw from him out in that game in India, he was really taking shots down the stretch. He was taking threes. You don't normally see that from him. And he was making threes. He was playing some defense. I really think he's going to be able to lift that Indiana team up to within the top 3 to 5 seeds in the Eastern Conference. So that I got 3, right? That was Milwaukee, Philly, Indiana. Who's got that 4th spot?
I might give it to the Miami Heat.
Okay,
Jimmy Butler.
Because
Jimmy Butler has proven to be a leader for any of the teams he played on. He had that leadership when he played for the Chicago Bulls, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Philadelphia 76ers. Remember that game when he knocked out against the Nets when he first came on that team?
Yeah.
That was just nuts.
And the game winner against Charlotte and the block.
Jimmy Butler has proven to be one of the best two-way players in the NBA.
Easily. Yeah, you're right. I think, what also matters too is he wants to be there and he's happy with the system there. Yeah. I don't think he has to worry about accountability concerns that might have been happening, was happening in Minnesota and a little bit of it in Philadelphia. I really wish he stayed in Philly. I really thought it would have been an awesome look. I thought that team was championship bound. I still think Philadelphia's championship bound more than ever. Yeah, you got Al Horford.
Because you got 2 big men that can actually score in the paint. Yeah. And one of them can actually shoot the threes. I mean, it relieves the pressure off Joel Embiid to not do all the inside and outside scoring all the time.
Absolutely. And Horford is a very extremely underrated defender.
And you know something? I wouldn't be surprised if we see Philadelphia in the NBA Finals.
I wouldn't be either.
Because that's what I've been reading on ESPN. They predicted them going up against Los Angeles Clippers.
I could see that.
In a 7-game series. Clippers winning in 7. I mean, I might have just been predicting them go to the NBA Finals already, but you know what? I think it can actually happen.
It's possible. It's highly possible. I think the only concern for Philadelphia right now is a 6-man and a bench.
I mean, that's true.
Mike Scott, he'll be solid. I don't know if Zaire Smith's going to end up playing for them this season. I don't know. The bench, they might need some extra lift in terms of their offense. Because I could easily see them being up by 15 to 20 in a game. And then once the second unit comes in, kind of just folding and then being down by 1 or being up by 2. So they really might need a reserve team. I'm pretty sure they'll be able to handle that somewhere along the season. They've made a lot of smart moves in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So.
And as I mentioned the Clippers earlier, we can finally transition to the Western Conference.
Yes.
The Western Conference is no longer one-sided given to the Warriors anymore.
No. Wild West.
It's really not one-sided. I mean, granted, they still got Stephen Curry. And they added D'Angelo Russell in that trade where they gave up Kevin Durant going to Brooklyn. But let's not forget the fact that the Golden State Warriors are still going to be irrelevant in the Western Conference.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think
they're not an automatic lock for the NBA Finals like they were in the past 5 years. But they're going to be a problem. Especially playing a new Chase Center.
Oh, yes. They got that nice stadium.
That is going to be insane.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. I don't think that anybody should be expecting them to drop off completely. I think that's very
I'm not going to expect that either.
No. But Steph's in his prime. D'Angelo Russell had an amazing year with Brooklyn.
And unlike Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson's going to play at least somewhere in the last 3 months of the season to keep the Golden State Warriors a packed offensive house.
Yeah, I mean, it's icing on the cake if Klay plays. I think this is a perfect opportunity to Russell to feel comfortable with the system. It'll definitely. I think it'll change a little bit once Klay Thompson comes in.
And although he didn't necessarily get all, and although talking about D'Angelo Russell, he didn't get all that far in the playoffs. He's proven that he can lead a team.
Oh, absolutely. He's erased any of those concerns.
Where he made Brooklyn an attraction and making Golden State an attraction as well.
Right.
Now, another team that we can expect to improve, the Lakers. And the reason why I'm saying that because it's LeBron James.
It's LeBron James, man.
Come on.
What else do we talk about on this podcast, man? It's LeBron.
Exactly.
LeBron.
And they added Anthony Davis. They added weapons for years.
They got all the weapons that they need. I still think they might be a little frail at the point guard spot. I think they still might be a little frail at the 2-guard spot. I think they need to have...
Danny Green, who had a record-setting 3-point shooting performance in the NBA Finals in 2013, back in the day.
I'm about to say, Raf, that's back in the day, though. Did you see Williams playing in the finals this past year?
it was still good enough for a championship.
True.
Exactly.
True.
You do not sleep on Danny Green's game.
I also think you shouldn't sleep on Avery Bradley.
I'm not sleeping on that guy either. I mean, for what I've seen, he's proven to be a decent point guard.
Yeah.
When it comes to it at times. But I feel like with this the Los Angeles Lakers roster, you can actually be one injury away from being back to a bad team.
Very true.
Because the only reason why they missed the playoffs is because of the injuries that they've had consistently.
Yes.
When LeBron James was playing, they were in the top 4.
Yes.
Before he got hurt.
Christmas Day against
and
Golden State.
And then that all got deflated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they barely managed to win a game against the Oklahoma City Thunder in overtime without LeBron James. They couldn't even defeat the New York Knicks without LeBron James.
Super Mario with that block, right? Yeah, the massive block upon him. I think what we're seeing is, although that they're very talented offensively, and I think they added weapons to get themselves some defensive headway, I think the problem is, like you said, they're so injury prone. I mean, Anthony Davis had a scare in preseason with his thumb. I think we're looking at a situation where if one of these guys get hurt, that's it, like you said.
Yeah. But now, what are your top 4 teams in the Western Conference? Because I'm easily putting the Los Angeles Lakers with Anthony Davis.
At the tippy top? At the top?
I'm easily putting the Lakers, the Clippers at the top 2. Easily.
What about Houston? Nobody got
Houston's in the top 3. They added Russell Westbrook, but I'm not going to jump the gun and say they're going to be one of the biggest threats.
What?
You see how they played against Golden State last year?
Man,
Kevin Durant got injured. Kevin Durant got injured, and they couldn't beat them. They choked in Game 6. Oh, man.
Listen,
it's just...
I'm saying...
Houston is just too overrated.
Okay, all right, let's pack that down. Yeah, let's break that down. Yes, they've had seasons that they have more or less choked, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think in particular the 7-game series against Golden State. Also the year prior to that, the year that they went up against they went up against San Antonio in the semi-conference, mm-hmm. right? They went up against them and Ginobili stuffed James Harden.
Exactly.
Thanksgiving game might as well have been. But I also think at the very same time, Houston has put themselves in a position to face the conference finalists. They've just always had the misfortune of going up against... How many times did they play Golden State? They played them about four times
they lost
in the last 5 years.
Conference finals.
Yeah.
They lost to them in the first round of 2016, first round. They fast forward to 2018.
Yeah.
One series where they actually had home court advantage, they could not hit a 3-pointer in Game 7. And they lost to them last year when Kevin Durant got injured. They had how many chances to keep the game close? I mean, they had close games, but it's Golden State.
There are a lot of...
Durant. It's just, they're kryptonite. They're basically the whole Western Conference kryptonite when they had Kevin Durant on that roster.
They have...
But now they don't, they could possibly, they're like semi-kryptonite.
I see what you're saying. It's a situation where you're looking at a team that has gone up against the conference finalists.
Exactly.
So they either won a championship or they were in the Western Conference Finals and lost, but it was Golden State. So every time they pretty much won a championship. With that being said, there's so many different problems with Houston in the past, right? Relying on James Harden offensively throughout the whole entire NBA season. Having to rely on him offensively to produce not only the points, but the assists, the rebounds, right? He had to do all that. Now he has a guy with Russell Westbrook who does the same exact thing.
A guy that he's played alongside with before. And they went to the NBA Finals with Kevin Durant in 2012.
Right.
And we all saw how that happened when they played together in an NBA Finals series.
And that's a team you don't have to worry about chemistry. You know, you plug Russell Westbrook in and everybody's going to rally towards him. You plug James Harden and everybody's going to rally towards him. They might have had concerns like that in the past. Now you're talking about two guys who played with each other before, that at the height of their games, they produce offensively for their squads. So now you have a situation where if Harden's not feeling well one game, he needs to sit out a couple games, you got Westbrook. And you don't have to worry about losing too many games down the stretch.
You got a scoring threat and a triple-double threat coming together on one roster.
Right.
And that all happened after the trade they made to send Chris Paul to the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Oof.
Chris Paul is going to be buried on that team, like literally.
You know something?
He's
I don't
oldest
know.
guy
I'm not buying
on
that.
the Oklahoma City Thunder.
If there's two teams that I think are the butt of everyone's jokes for the last couple months that I'm not entirely sure I'm just going to throw them out like that, I think it's the Toronto Raptors and I think it's the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think it's easy to make fun of both of those guys, right? I'm saying this to everybody out there, and I might make fun of them when I'm off this podcast. With that being said, Toronto is still in tip-top shape, right? They just lost Kawhi Leonard. Nick Nurse is still a great head coach that gets the team to play defensively. I think this means that you're going to get extra minutes out of guys like Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam, right? They're still going to be able to produce. Kyle Lowry's still going to be able to produce. I don't think there's going to be this massive... they're not going to win a championship. I think it's fair to say that. With that being said, they're still in the Atlantic Division. They still are going to give those teams a run for their money. They're still going to beat the Knicks. They're still going to get those games out of the Nets early now that Kevin Durant's hurt, right? They're going to be very competitive with Philadelphia and with Boston, too. So I think Toronto will maintain a respectable playoff berth. Exactly. Oklahoma City Thunder now. It's Chris Paul. It's Chris Paul. I have yet to see a situation where Chris Paul has not made a team better.
I mean, Chris Paul has proven to be a leader for the team he's played on. But
time again,
he has been underachieving throughout his career. Like, you see what happened when he finally led the New Orleans Hornets, well, now they're called New Orleans Pelicans, to the playoffs. They could not defeat the San Antonio Spurs in that second round in 2008.
That was a tough series for them to play.
But let's not forget, they protected home court advantage up until Game 7.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, it was Chris Paul's first year in the league. I mean, I expected to go to at least the conference finals with that roster, but they couldn't take out the San Antonio Spurs, who was the previous champion before that. That was a tough series for them.
It was tough.
And then, of course, you have 2009, where you had that historic bad playoff series.
Against the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Yes. I remember that.
Chris Paul has been
coughed up 60 points, right?
They lost by like 40 points in Game 4.
I thought it was 60.
Something like that.
We're gonna get a statistician on this show, people. Yeah, I want.
But fast forward to right now, he was a disappointment with the Los Angeles Clippers going no further than the second round.
I think this is very similar.
He had a conference finals appearance with the Houston Rockets.
Right.
We talked about that already.
This is very similar to the conversation we were having about James Harden and the Houston Rockets. With the Clippers too, they've had the misfortune of running into San Antonio a few times. Houston that one year where they were up 3-1 and then coughed up the series. You know, they run into competition. They just didn't have enough to get them over the hump. So I do think it's unfortunate. I would have liked to have seen Chris Paul be traded to a place where he could have legitimately compete for a championship. Unfortunately,
but instead, it's going to be just Chris Paul and a bunch of bench warmers.
Well, you know, Gilgeous Alexander, I think he's a good player. You know, he proved to show up against the Warriors with the Clippers last year. So he'll show up. I think they're still waiting for Andre Robertson, though. You know, he's still injured, so that might be a problem.
That could be a problem.
I like Terrence Ferguson. I think he's going to be able to get some minutes out there and show people he plays pretty decent, and I think he'll develop well. And they still got Steven Adams, so I think that's going to be a nice threat that Chris Paul brings for them.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't think they're going to be awful.
Yeah, they're going to at least be consistent and pick up wins.
Yeah, I think
they really are. Who do you think is going to make it to the NBA Finals? What's your finals matchup that you want to see? Because I would like to see, if Kevin Durant wasn't injured, the Nets versus the Lakers. Just to get payback on them from 2003. I mean, 2002, correction.
Yes, that'd be amazing. You want what I want to see, or what I'm like trying to be clairvoyant and think will happen?
Yeah, and who you want to see what happen?
Okay, let's see. Ideally, it would be nice to see the Nets and the Lakers. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, exactly. Nets and Lakers, they're going to be a serious NBA Finals matchup.
I think we might end up seeing that next year.
But that's not going to happen for at least another year. But let's focus on this year. Because I personally like to see Philadelphia duke it out with the Los Angeles Lakers. Not Clippers, Lakers. And LeBron winning in 7. Because I feel like LeBron is more... The first, yeah. And they literally showed that they can hit threes now, referring to a certain somebody that hit three-pointer against an international team in a preseason game. The guy that you kept on saying needs to work on his shooting.
Yeah, I probably did.
You and Docs kept saying this guy needs to work on his
Simmons.
shooting.
I'm sorry, man.
This guy.
It's all funny games until you actually do it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, him and his coach, Brett Brown said that he's working on it this season.
This guy's a guard tall enough to play small forward.
I know.
He buried a three-pointer against a foreign team.
Yeah. I mean, you know what?
You can't sleep on Ben Simmons right now, can you?
No, you can't.
You're making fun of this guy for not shooting a single shot.
But it's 1-3. We're literally going crazy about 1-3. I feel like Steve 1-3. It's 1-3. But he's saying it's in his repertoire. I think it'll be there. I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. Now, we about to jump ship a little bit, changing sports.
Okay.
Let's talk about the NFL.
Woo.
Because we're halfway through the NFL season.
Yes.
And we've seen some good moments. We see some ties. Well, something that somebody that was on this episode. I didn't post the episode because of the sound quality wasn't all that great. Well, matter of fact, there was no sound in that episode.
Ooh.
The one that I did with Knox, was recapping the NFL. Sorry, we couldn't post it. There was some issues with the sound, but yeah.
We apologize.
But let's just jump into the NFL conversation right here.
Yeah.
What team impressed you the most in the 2019 NFL season?
I mean, enough said, the Chiefs.
Kansas City. Yeah,
my homie Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes was no joke.
Just savage. He's a robot.
And I've seen how they dominate the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
I've seen how they dominate the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
I was pretty
hurt about the Ravens.
No joke.
Yeah. It's unfortunate he got hurt. But thankfully 3 weeks. They're saying it's 3 weeks. Thankfully, I'd hate to see him be out for a long period of time.
He'll be back. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And he's going to lead Kansas City into the 100 Super Bowl. Actually, it'll be like the 53rd or 54th Super Bowl. But this is the 100th NFL season that we are watching. We are halfway through it.
You think they make it back, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And then there's a few games to me that were the greatest. Daniel Jones making his debut.
Oh, against
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that come from behind win against them. I mean, granted, Tampa Bay's not great of a team, but the fact that you had a rookie quarterback lead the Giants to a comeback and then win against the Washington Redskins the following week, at least the Giants have got some wins. More wins than they did in the first few wins. And then, the Giants, they literally just flop. I mean, granted, they're a rebuilding team, still have Eli Manning on the roster, but after a few games, they decided pass the torch to Daniel Jones.
It's a good old DJ. Yeah, I think that's something that the Giants needed. I think we need to be okay with being in a rebuild state and really being fully developing players within that rebuild state. I think DJ's got a good situation. He's there with Manning. You can learn a little bit from him. It seems like they're working on that relationship. And I think it's only going to prove to be pretty good moving forward for them.
Yeah. And, well, who do you think is the most impressive team coming out of the NFC?
Who we got out there? Let me see. I'm trying to think.
I mean, it's kind of tough to predict because there's a lot of good NFC teams.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask me, I would say the Los Angeles Rams. Because they've proven to be competitive. They got some wins.
And they're fully loaded, too. Aaron Darnold.
They were in the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, I mean.
How can they not be fully loaded?
Clay Matthews is still out there for them.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Darnold, They're looking good. It was tough to see them lose that game against the 49ers last week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the 49ers.
Jimmy.
They exceed a lot of expectations this year. Because was it like a year or two ago that they only managed to sneak off like 3 or 4 wins?
Right. Well, it seems like a lot of these
better
guys.
Than Giants, but better than the Giants. Wasn't it that many years ago that they were bad? And now they just jump off the gate, start the season like 5 or 6 wins.
Yeah.
And San Francisco could be back in the Super Bowl. And unlike their last appearance when they got shut down by Baltimore, they could actually make a run at the money. I predict San Francisco and Kansas City in the Super Bowl, duking it out for the Vince Lombardi Trophy.
No Pats.
Patriots?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, just because I don't want it to happen doesn't mean that it can't.
I mean, Tom Brady is a legend. He is the Kobe Bryant of NFL. I'm not going to shade on him. I mean, even though the Giants did beat him twice in the Super Bowl, Tom Brady is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
We have to make it seem like we're not biased around. We gotta make it seem like we're not biased around it. We're trying to show that we're not all too much of New York fanatic fans. Like,
I'm sorry, but
it's cool. It's cool. It's the Pats. Yeah, I mean, when Philly beat them, I was jumping for joy.
Any Boston versus New York matchup, you have to make fun of when New York owns Boston.
Yeah, true. You're right.
And,
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It's your podcast. I'm gonna let you rock.
Yeah, whatever.
What about Baltimore though? I think Lamar Jackson's showing.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson's no.
We're seeing a change in the guard.
Vaccine and Joe Flacco said
come on,
to the Broncos. He's led Baltimore to being one of the greatest teams right now, even though they couldn't beat the Cleveland Browns.
Oh yeah, oof, yeah, that was a tough loss.
The Cleveland Browns showed to be competitive, but they could not beat Seattle. They could not beat Tennessee. And they got smoked by the Texas 49ers on Monday Night Football.
They did, but they ended up turning around against Baltimore. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll say this.
I never predicted Cleveland to have a blowout win over Baltimore. Baker Mayfield is going to be their star quarterback in the future. And let's just hope he's the one after they had, like, how many quarterbacks?
Too many to even count. I think
even quarterbacks that were good in their first teams could not make the Cleveland Browns a winning team.
I think the problem that they're having right now is just the over-reliance on Odell. And, I mean, any and every team knows that he's a threat. So all they really have to do in any given game is to just sort of, like, double down on him. You know? And then it's like, well, what does Cleveland have to rely on after that?
Yeah, Odell Beckham Jr. is a big pickup for the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But it feels like he's playing for the Giants because they only managed to win a few games.
I guess it begs the question as to if he really moves the team forward, right? That might have been what the Giants was thinking when they traded him.
Yeah, he can actually move a team forward. Now, who you think is going to make it to the Super Bowl? What's your prediction?
I'm thinking I'd like to see Kansas City and the Patriots battle it out again. You know, I really think that the Chiefs this time around.
Kansas City plays in the AFC along with the Patriots. Yeah.
So who will we have here?
I think I would predict the Patriots and I think you should. I mean, I might have picked Kansas City and San Francisco, but now that I consider it, the Patriots will make a better fit in this year's Super Bowl than Kansas City.
What about Baltimore?
Baltimore might be there too. I'm not sleeping on them.
Yeah.
You know what? You can't sleep on any sports team in the NFL.
Oh, but you know another team I'm thinking too, Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay. They had that big win on Monday Night Football against the Lions on a field goal.
Yes. That was massive.
Aaron Rodgers is back.
Yeah, oh yeah. Better than ever. I
don't know what happened to the Packers the last few years when they had bad records. It's just Aaron Rodgers he's just one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Easily.
Do you remember that ridiculous Hail Mary touchdown against the Lions?
Oh, I sure do.
In the regular season?
He always gives it to the Lions.
They had one Hail Mary against the Arizona Cardinals, even though they did lose in the playoffs that year. But still.
Yeah. He always
Aaron
gives
Rodgers
it to them.
is still ridiculous.
He always gives it to Detroit. I don't know what it is. He's got a personal vendetta against them or something.
The guy's like, Hail Mary, got him.
Yeah. I mean, he's just surgical with it at that.
It's a layup for him.
Yeah. Nice little alley-oop.
Yeah, I don't really know what to tell you. It's just, there's a lot of NFL predictions going on. I mean, everything will become clear when we get to the end of the season.
For sure.
Now we get to the postseason for MLB.
Can I just say something about baseball right about now?
What happened?
Have we ever seen a situation in sports where you get rid of a prolific player on a team and they make the championship, the World Series, the NBA Finals?
No, you did
You
not.
don't see that.
You do not see. Bryce Harper was the leading man for the Washington Nationals.
It's crazy,
This man signs a 10-year contract with Philadelphia, and he becomes a laughingstock.
It's crazy. I have not seen this before.
The laughingstock.
I don't know what, and What can we even attribute Bryce Harper for not getting the Phillies to the playoffs, the wild
They
card?
could not get out of the
What is it with
NLDS
him?
when they had Bryce Harper.
What
They got shut
happened?
down by the same Cardinals team in 2012. They got shut down by the Dodgers. They got shut down by the San Francisco Giants. How is that even possible?
I don't know.
I was watching the game. They were down 3-0. Back-to-back home runs in the 8th. They tied the game in the 9th. And then this guy, Howard Kendrick, hits a grand slam to put him on top in extras. A former Dodger nailed a grand slam with this man.
I don't understand it. I've never seen this ever in sports.
This is something that and I talk to us about this all the time. You cannot sleep on baseball teams that don't have a star.
That's true. It seems like
Oh, man. And then he just swept through the St. Louis Cardinals, the winningest World Series team in the National League.
Isn't that something? And then
I watched that game. In the road games, they held them to only a single run in both games.
It looks like they're gonna win. It just
I don't
may
know
happen.
because remember, you're either gonna get the Houston Astros who could close out the Yankees either tonight or tomorrow, or in fact close them out in general, or you could get the Yankees, the guys that have the most championships in all 4 major sports.
Do you think that once they go up against Washington, they're gonna be able to have the pitching ready to win?
I don't know.
That's because I think that's the question.
The experience factor is going to come into play.
Yeah.
Because the Washington Nationals are basically replicating the 2015 New York Mets.
Mm-hmm.
They had to come from behind win against Milwaukee. And I already talked about them taking out the Dodgers and the Cardinals.
Right.
The Nationals are just incredible.
Yeah.
I didn't really think much of it after the wild card game against the Milwaukee Brewers, but when it got past the Dodgers and they swept the Cardinals like it was nothing,
Yeah.
you can't teach that.
It's lightning in a bottle right now. That's what it is.
I mean, this is a true disrespect to New York Mets fans, but I gotta pick the Nationals to win the World Series if it's against the Houston Astros. If it's against the Yankees, you know I'm gonna ride with the Yankees.
You're gonna ride with them, but do we think that they can win statistically speaking? Because that's the question I'm having.
That is gonna be a little bit of a concern because their offense was literally silent in those last 2 games against the Houston Astros. They jumped out the gates. They had one explosive first inning, which, funny enough, was enough because the pitching was so good. And they shut down Justin Verlander like it was nothing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they shut down. But they got Garrett Cole in pitching one of the last 2 games of this series. Garrett Cole only gave up 1 run in Game 3. This guy's no joke. He can literally hit you with the curveball. He can hit you with the fastball at about 100 miles per hour. How can you sleep on this?
You can't.
Oh,
Can't.
man. It's just, there's so much craziness going on. But do you think the Nationals are going to win the World Series?
Based on the way you're breaking it down right now, I gotta say yeah. Because I don't know if the Yankees could really come back and win this series right about now.
Exactly.
You know?
That would be like the Toronto Raptors.
Because it took a lot out of them for them to get that game last night. Who was it, Hicks?
Mm-hmm.
That ended up showing up in the beginning?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. Can you get that out of him and the team for like another couple games so that they could get to the World Series? And then once they get to the World Series, are they going to be ready for a rested Nationals team?
Nah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's kind of conflicting because you want the Yankees to win, but you don't want to see the Nationals lose after seeing how far they got, making it their first World Series appearance as the Nationals. You can't sleep on. Oh my!
Can't.
You just can't. And I also couldn't sleep on the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, they did put up a series against the Houston Astros, and we saw that.
Oh yeah.
They lasted until the 5th game against the Houston Astros.
And then they took them out.
Yeah, literally taking them out. And then another crazy game that just happened, the St. Louis Cardinals against the Atlanta Braves, Game 5. The Atlanta Braves, they choked in a potential series closing Game 4 in a sac fly. And then they gave up 10 runs in the first inning. Oh, man. I'm sorry.
First inning?
Yeah, the first inning. 10 runs in the first inning. When I saw that, oh man.
It was over after
These
that.
baseball teams, so-called heavyweights of baseball are jokes.
Well, hey, you win some, you lose some at the end of the day.
But you do not lose to rebuilding teams. You just do not do that.
You don't give up 10 runs in an inning like that. That's the problem.
In the second game. Oh man, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's just so sad.
it is.
And sadly, we're gonna have to conclude this episode of
Yeah, we
Nothing
have
But That
to.
Sports Talk. Thank you for joining in, talking NFL, MLB, and NBA, Marlon. Thank you for coming by.
Brother, man, you know, it ain't nothing, man. Like I said,
And
I'm
I hope
sorry.
this isn't the last we see.
No, it definitely won't. It definitely won't. It
I mean, I know
definitely
you got your PhD left to concentrate on,
I'm trying
focus
to.
on that, and I'm just we're progressing.
Yeah. I'm telling you, the brand is getting stronger, and there's a lot of people in the family now. So, you know, I'm happy to see that, and I'm happy to be back at it, man.
Yeah. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rafique Louison, where you can catch all, or at least most of the episodes I've done, well, the video versions of the episodes I've done for my podcast, or you can catch along with the audio version on Spotify, iTunes, etc., all the streaming platforms. And to all the great ballers, baseballers, footballers out there, get your head in the game.